And what we were talking about, or what Graeme Souness was talking about in his column in the Mail, I think on Saturday, was it, Graeme? Not for the first time you've gone after Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, who came on yesterday and scored to make it 3-2 for Manchester City in the dying embers of the game against Tottenham. But then Tottenham equalised and 3-3 it finished. So Graeme Souness, in his column at the weekend, Jack Grealish could not have played in any of the teams I did at Liverpool the way he plays. It would not have been accepted. What do you mean by that?
Too many touches. I mean, the way I was coached from some of the best brains that the world football's ever seen. It was all about getting out your feet as quickly as you can if you can't pass it one touch. And remember the pitches we used to play on. We were, in simple terms, the only people that need time on the ball are the guys who put the ball in the back of the net. The rest of you you're not hod carriers, but they didn't use that term. It's a word I can't use.
But has the game not changed a bit?
In what respect?
It takes time to do the right thing.
But he doesn't do the right thing. And the stats would back that up. Let me tell you how it works, Jim. People who dribble with the ball, for the uneducated.
Thank you.
He's a good player. That gets you on the edge of your seat. People who run with the ball have always done that. But ultimately, there has to be an end product. Skip past one, get it in early. Don't skip past one, skip past two, and lose it to the third man. So people who dribble with the ball, and I'm not talking about Jack in particular, but they've always excited people and always had a bit more attention on them because they spend more time on the ball. You've obviously heard the ball moves far quicker than you can. I'm sure when you were a boy, you were told that. And I just think Jack doesn't see it early enough, and that's why he takes early touches. I don't believe any coach would tell any player, not Jack, any player, to dwell on the ball as much as he does.
You certainly lay into him, though.
I'm not laying into him.
Grealish has become very predictable. He takes his full back down the line before checking inside and playing it square. There is no threat. There's no end product. So if I was him, I'd be very concerned.
I don't see him going to the byline enough. Going past someone, going to the byline.
He always cuts inside, doesn't he?
Yeah. He threatens to go down the line, comes inside. This is how the modern game has evolved. Left-sided players want to play on the right one be on the left, so they can cut in. I still think there's a place. Listen, you don't want to become predictable. Right now, he's predictable. As a striker, as someone who scores goals, you have to be unpredictable.
But you say it's come to a bit of an impasse.
Well, it's come to an impasse.
I'd be sitting in front of the manager and asking him, how do you see it for me?
Well, Jim, it's come to an impasse because of Doku. He excites me. He's direct. And I said that in the article. If you're playing against someone who wants to get you isolated one-on-one.
But he has pace, doesn't he?
Doku frightens the life out of you.
Yeah, pace.
The same as Sterling does. I know that, he's not in Gareth's thoughts at the moment, but Sterling's, you don't want to play against these people. If you're a fullback in those positions, you're looking for a covering player all the time. And then again, I mentioned it in that article, if you dangle a foot at all these days in the box with someone like that, you're risking penalty.
And do you think Jack has kind of capitulated to his position at City more often than not on the bench? You say he cannot afford to be sitting on the bench as a bit part player. Only he can decide if he's happy to be that. It's not something I would have tolerated. No, you wouldn't have tolerated being on the bench.
No, couldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't hang around. But that's only for Jack to decide. I think, listen.
You'd have knocked the door down?
Yes, but it wouldn't have happened.
Why? Because you were that good?
No, it wouldn't have happened because of my personality. I would have, I'd have been confronting it before. If I'm not starting every game, it just wouldn't have happened. I know what I'm like. I had one incident where I was injured, came back. I'd been told I was going to play at Spurs. We travelled down to London. Terry Mack says on the way down, "Are you playing?" I said, "Yeah." He's told me I'm playing, and he didn't. Joe Fagan didn't pick me. Bob Paisley he had pleurisy and was out. And he didn't pick me. And we trained on the Monday morning, playing on the Monday night, I think, or Tuesday night. He didn't pick me. He came to our room. I'm in the room with Kenny. Came to the door. He said, "What if I'd have thought about it? And we're not going to play tonight." And I said to Joe, "You know what we can do? Your team, you can stick it. The sun don't shine." I went straight down to the bar, had a gin and tonic, and wrote out a transfer request.
So I always thought that was admirable from Graeme.
And
I always thought that was admirable, taking the rough with the smooth. The game's changed, Graeme. You've got a different. Liverpool and you in the 80s and two substitutes is not relevant to where we are now.
We're not talking about whether it's
And you play in a
relevant or
different
not.
position as well.
We're talking about how I address that situation.
You'd have a turn.
Because
Well,
he had told Simon, he had told
That's
me I was
great.
going to play.
Yeah, I heard this story. I thought it was admirable the first time I heard it.
Right. So anyway, Jack Grealish, I think the Doku turning up looks like a real player.
It does indeed.
He's a baby.
At least Grealish was more professional than you.
We're all different, thank goodness. So he has got a real challenge in front of him that wasn't there before. So let's see how Jack deals with it. You know, I'm not digging anyone out. I'm making a point that Jack is at a crossroads where he might have to play second fiddle to Doku. And if that is the case, will he still be on Gareth's mind?
Is it in your mind? See, I'm with Graeme on this, but I'm also in the camp that he was never a £100 million footballer in the first place. He was because someone was prepared to write that check out.
Which isn't his fault.
Well, no, it isn't. But you have to then prove that you're at that level. And it's interesting to see. It's also interesting to see that we make this big furore about Pep Guardiola influences every player, changes the game. And last year, to be fair to Jack Grealish, what he changed in his game was his work ethic and his preparedness to track
running back.
But
excellent.
Really, and absolutely, we saw that. We saw that specifically in a few games, and it was a real transition. But what you get Jack Grealish for is to hurt the opposition.
At the other end.
Yeah.
I think Graham's observations are right. But do you think he is what people crack him up to be? Do you believe that to be the case beneath all that predictability that's coming in?
No,
and the fact I don't think he is either.
No,
Right.
I think he's you know.
Yeah, but if Kulusevski hadn't popped up yesterday, he would have won the game for City.
Right. So
Yes,
he's
he's got
so
tapping.
that so he's
Well,
now.
that would have put your article in the...
We got a
What,
tap in.
Jim, I know you've got a bit of petrol and you're putting it on the fire. He scored 1 goal and 1 assist this year for Man City, a team that dominates the ball, a team that's always on the front foot, a team that scores goals. That ain't enough. It's just not enough.
So where is Jack at the moment? Right now, where is he then at City?
I think he has to. The first thing he has to do is have a conversation with the manager and say, "What do you think?" Because I want to be. If you're a big player, you want to be starting every single game, every single moment. You want to be on the pitch. So if he's now no longer the go-to guy, that's a conversation that's only him and the manager can have that conversation. I think he's under pressure.
He's your new Paul Pogba, isn't he?
I was wrong about him, wasn't I?
But is he good? I mean, is he going to? It's all well and good saying that he can go to knock on the door. You go knock on the door because you can back up the observation at the time.
And he can't right now.
But can he full stop? Because I'm not sure he can.
No, I'm not his big. I have to say, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he flatters to deceive.
That's my view.
okay.
That's my view as well.
Are there problems on the horizon for Jack? Unless there's a chat
another
with
way.
Pep.
You put Jack on the market tomorrow. Who's buying him? For how much?
Well, those silly sods at Man United would probably buy him for a fortune.
I reckon you'd have loads of suitors, Graham, would you not? He'd probably get in the Liverpool side, would he not?
Jim.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, he's a rascal.
He's a rascal.
You like rascal players. Make your mind up.
He's a rascal in as much as I bet he's great to have a night out with.
Come on. He was absolutely integral in City winning the treble. Very involved. Let me translate.
He played 28 games last year.
But Grealish was a very important player for Pep, and no doubt still is. But you're saying, go to Pep, speak to him and say,
what I'm
I
saying
should be
is
starting.
that we're having this conversation for one reason and one reason only, about Doku, who's come in and shown right now he's more influential than what Jack is.
You'd still be having this conversation because he'd still be doing the same things that you're suggesting he does.
I think...
and City would be less impactful.
You asked me the question. I was brought up to believe if you're having touches of the ball, I'll give you an example. And you're sort of... If you have too many, if you have lots of touch of the ball, you're not seeing the picture early enough. I'll try and, without boring you, a top player, and I'll give you an example of maybe the best in recent history, Paul Scholes. When he's not in possession of the ball himself and his teammates are passing it around, with every pass they make, he's thinking, if this ball comes, if it should come to me, where am I going to play it? And he's looking to pop it off first time. Okay, right. that pass is gone. The next one, his brain is working 10 to the dozen.
But Grealish's life has changed because of Doku arriving.
I think Doku's put
and this was
Doku
who Jack came on for after 52 minutes yesterday. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, but we shall see.
Have you seen Doku this season?
Let's put a challenge.
He's a flying machine, that kid, Doku.
Let's put a challenge at his door, and it's up to Jack to respond to that.
Has Jack got a problem on the horizon? City fans, you might want to tell us if he does or not. 03717 223344. Just gone 11.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.